3, 2, 1.
See, I always talk about times that are exciting. I always talk about times that are just like a little lull in life. And right now, it's a time that's exciting for a couple reasons. One, you and your buddies start to plan about what golf course you're going to be attending this year, the clubs, where you're going to be hacking the sticks. And even that conversation with your buddies alone becomes exciting, even though you're not physically out there swinging, hitting the balls, making some birdies. Well, maybe not birdies, but maybe you're making some double bogeys, a bogey, a par if you're lucky. Even though you're having those conversations and not physically making those scores, it's tickling that golf bone just a little bit. So those are some things that you always have something to look forward to. People always say that you got to look forward to things in life. I believe that. It makes things more, what's the word I'm looking for? Exciting. You have to be excited about something to look forward to. And no matter what it is in life, you just got to kind of find that thing. And when Coleman was on here the other day, it's like, all right, what do we have to look forward to? Potentially the World Juniors coming back in 4 years, the Super Bowl, NHL playoffs around the corner, MLB training camp is starting back. So baseball starting right back up. Look, you can see I got my seeds over there.
Oh, yeah.
There's always something in life to look forward to. It doesn't necessarily have to be a trip to the Bahamas. It doesn't necessarily have to be a trip to Vegas. It doesn't necessarily have to be, going to McDonald's. That's probably more realistic. For most people, going to McDonald's is something to look forward to.
I agree.
But in this life, you always need something to look forward to. And if you can master that trick of the little things, I think you should be all right. It's great to look forward to things. This is that time of year.
I even think like it's something as small as like enjoying a TV show and having something to go home to every day after work, like a TV show you really care about, right? On Netflix, something you're binging, something you care about. Oh man, I'm gonna have this for the next 2 months. I can go home every day and watch this show. Even something like that. It's always good to, just have something on the other side.
Yeah,
it
is. Like, people love going home and being able to watch a new episode of Yellowstone, a new episode of Survivor. It's like, all right, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to pick up a bag of chips. I'm going to go home with my significant other, put my feet up and watch some Yellowstone. It's like, that might not mean much to a lot of people, but it's the little things that mean the difference to the average folk. I'm not jumping on a private jet every day going down to the Fiji and swimming with the dolphins. That's just not me. I don't know if that'll ever be me, but I don't know. There's something about the little things of putting your feet up and being able to watch a great hockey game that after having a nice steak dinner, there's just something about that I'm like, all right, that's good. That's good enough for me.
What a night that is.
I'm happy and I'm satisfied with that. You always need something to look forward to. If you're a professional athlete, you look forward to these big contracts. Bo Bichette just signed for $33 million for the next 3 years. That's incredible. And you got to think, when he's waking up every day, is he thinking of, okay, I got to get a contract. Is that something to look forward to? Is that something you work towards? I guess a bit of both. But it's you always need something to look forward to. It's just an interesting life of a professional athlete. People judge you automatically on the money you're making. Is he worth $33 million a year? And then automatically people's brains go to the mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that mistake he made against Colorado back in 2018? That's not a $33 million play. Yeah. Remember that thing he did in the playoffs where he hit the ball, but then it was fouled? And that's not a $33 million play. It's rare when automatically people go, yeah, he deserves that.
Definitely, man. Yeah.
When was the last time you go, oh, no, that guy deserves that money?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to judge, what's Mahomes making?
It's been a while.
$43 million a year, it's just, yeah, he deserves that. Yeah, you just don't hear that. Yeah, he deserves that.
And it also
makes sense.
It switches the way people think about like the athlete instantly. It's like Bichette goes from like, the lovable guy that Toronto drafted. He's from America. He's grown up in the Jays system to now a guy who needs to like show that he's worth the money that they're going to potentially pay him, right? Yeah. So it's like in people's mind, just like that. He goes from, our star to, all right, now you got to show up every day. You can't be making those same mistakes. So you got to be super mentally tough if you're a pro athlete.
Michael Jordan's documentary, was it The Last Chance? Or This Is It? The Last Dance?
Yeah.
They had a clip in there with Dennis Rodman, how he talked about the money that professional athletes make. And he goes, I play the game for free. The game, they don't pay us this money for the game. They pay us to deal with our lives outside of the game, to deal with you guys, the media, the conversations about us behind our back. That's what they pay us this money for. And when you talk about a market like Toronto, let's leave the Leafs out of it. A sports market in Toronto, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're playing for the Raptors, if you're playing for the Jays, the Leafs, I'll even put the Toronto Rock in there. What the hell? You have to be able to put up with the media talking about you in a negative way. It's just the way that jungle over there in Toronto was built. You have to have thick skin. But there's a lot of glory there if you can win.
Definitely.
It's just no one's been able to win for it.
I mean, the Raps won. The Raps experienced it. The Jays did years and years ago, but
it is true. You don't hear too much about the Raptors saying the Raps need to do this, the Raps need to do that. You know, the Raps just everyone's kind of leaving them alone because they delivered a couple years ago. I feel like when you win, you get like a 10-year grace period of let them be for a bit. Let them,
Well, dude, a Canadian team hasn't won in 30 years, and that for the Stanley Cup. The first Canadian team to win will be like put on this pedestal. And then they'll be good. Everyone will be happy for the next they don't need to do anything.
Someone had a great take on that. Like if the Leafs potentially, it was, who was it? I think it was O-Dog. He said this back in the day when everyone remember the hype about we got to sign Matthews, we got to sign Nylander, we got to sign Tavares, we got to sign Marner, and there was like, oh my God, these guys are just getting so much money. How are they going to be able to have depth? They're putting all their money up front. And O-Dog had a great take on it, saying, if you win in Toronto and you take less money right now, you will forever be a legend in the city of Toronto. And being a legend in the city of Toronto means a lot more for the rest of your life than right now. Advertising deals. You'll be able to walk into that city and just make money off the city for the rest of your life, essentially, is what he was saying. He's like, take the sacrifice now, get depth in there, and you will forever be a legend in the city of Toronto, and that will pay off for generations of generations of generations. If you're Austin Matthews' kid 30 years from now, he can get a job anywhere in Toronto. You got to think about it. Like, you think about it like that, he's right. It's you can benefit financially off of the city that you win in for the rest of your life if you win. But there was really no pay cut taken, and we'll see what happens there.
And they were allowed to. It happened with Kawhi Leonard. Literally, he left and they're allowed to leave after you win. Like everyone, no one knew about Kawhi Leonard in Toronto. Really, he played for the Spurs. He was always injured.
Yeah.
He comes to Toronto, wins the title. He's like a top 3 player the entire year. He plays a full season, no injuries, load management, but oh well. And he wins the title, and he leaves that same summer, and no one cares. Everyone still loves Kawhi in Toronto. He brought them a title. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Okay, he went to the Clippers. It sucks we couldn't run it back. Oh well.
It was was it Muzzin who was in LA before Toronto? Yeah, it was Muzzin. I think it was his second game there in Toronto or something, and they were on a 2-game losing streak. And someone asked him a question about are you guys nervous? 2-game losing streak. Do you think the season's over? It was one of those Toronto questions. Yeah. And Muzzin was like, "What? Yeah. We lost 2 games. There's 82 games this season. He coming from LA where it doesn't really matter if you win or lose."
Yeah.
I'll never forget that clip on Sportsnet the day after. He just got traded there, and he was so fresh to the Toronto media. He's like, "What are you talking about?" We only lost 2 games, and each game they lost by a point, a game, a goal or 2. And it was just his face was just "Oh yeah, I forgot where I was for a minute."
The sky's falling.
Yeah, the sky's falling.
When you lose 2 in Toronto, I guess.
I love it though. It's I'm a sucker for it. I love Twitter when the Leafs play. I love Sportsnet and TSN in the morning after the Leafs lose.
Oh yeah.
As much as I chirp the people that go, Bo Bichette doesn't deserve $33 million. I really enjoy what do people do, the comment section? I enjoy the comment section. It's a form of entertainment that's really undervalued. Having non-experts' opinion on a professional matter is very funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It's very fun.
And it's funny because you look at the comments, you're like, oh, I'll never be like this comment section. Look at these dummies who are taking their time to give, you know what I mean? And then you're like, wait, I'm doing this every day too. I'm no better than they are. It's an interesting dynamic.
No, there's been some really good sports moments over the years on Twitter. Speaking of one, Saskatchewan Rush goaltender Alex, I'm going to mess this last name up. Alex Buque. Buque.
Did they say it during the broadcast?
Maybe they did actually. Yeah, maybe I'll put. I think I looked it up right before. Give me a sec here.
Gotta love that though. The NLL getting some good coverage there with that interview.
Oh, it was awesome.
I wonder if he'd come on the pod.
You came into Rogers Arena, faced your former club, and your squad got the
She
dub.
just says Alex.
How nice was it to get the win here tonight?
Hey, we followed the game plan and we got the dub. Good on for the boys. Love these guys.
How imperative was the penalty kill, especially in the second half?
Didn't think of it much. Just, try to stop the ball,
I know you're a team guy, so how good are the guys on the back end?
Oh, they're f***ing pumped. Here we go.
What does this win do for you, confidence-wise?
Confidence is pretty high. Another tally on the chart. We'll see ourselves next week. Get ready.
Congrats, enjoy this one. Teddy, Brett.
And that's the beauty, I think, of the NLL. It's just a bunch of guys just still looking to have some fun, play some sports, and make some money. And it makes, that's the definition of a guy who isn't really making any advertising dollars. That's the guy who doesn't really have to worry about his public image. That's the guy who just doesn't, it's just, hey, I'm here having some fun with my brothers. Yeah. We're gonna win and we're gonna go for it. That's
no one knew about him a week ago.
That's the beauty of that league. It's just he's just a guy. That's so funny. Yeah, I fucking love these guys. We're gonna go for it. See you next week. Yeah, likable guy, and it blew up. That guy could get a contract at like Barstool. You never know. Just a personality. So yeah, just
or
go for it.
Sports.
Yeah, that guy's probably charging a lot now.
I wonder if he'd come on the podcast next time he plays the Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is
he plays the same.
Yeah, that is the NLL.
Yeah, he'd be here at some point.
Yeah, he would be. We'll have to look at the schedule for the Halifax Thunderbirds and see if he's coming to town. Because if so, we can go to the rink and maybe set up a mic or two.
That'd be epic. Mic him up.
Imagine.
That'd be unreal.
Miking up lacrosse players has always been one of the things I've wanted to do. It's just such a difficult sport to do. One, the mic could break at any point, unless you put it on a player who's defense. If you put it on a player who plays offense, it's tough because a slash could just completely break the mic.
Yeah.
But if you put it on a player who's on defense that does the slashing, it could potentially work.
What are your thoughts on like miking up during game compared to warm up? Because I feel like I've seen some ones during the game that have been awesome, but I know it's like pretty tough to pull off.
Well, excuse me. It's just a liability issue. Like if that mic comes undone and goes onto the ice during the play. And someone slips on it. There's we only have one really good mic. It costs a lot of money and I don't want to break it. So there's that issue. And then there's the liability of the safety of the players going out there and it could fall. Like I said, someone could step on the wire, could trip. Someone could hit the guy. And, during the practice, if a mic turns off and it hits the mute button by accident, I just go on the bench. Hey, come here for a second. I just got to click the mute button back on. But if it happens during the game, I can't just go run on the bench and go, hey, coach, can I go talk to your player for a sec? There's just a lot of, I agree.
A lot can go wrong.
A lot can go wrong. Like if you weigh the positive to the negatives outweigh the positives by a lot.
By a lot, eh?
By a lot. But for this is what's good about like these, like the Joe that we're doing. Like we have a good relationship with Jeff. Like he if we need to do anything, we can easily just go on the bench and ask the coach something really quick because we know we're part of the of the tournament. So like it's more realistic to do it during tournaments than regular season play. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's my only issue with the game because we did do it during a game once. A guy, I forget his name, from Citadel High School years ago. We did it in Sackville Arena, and we stayed for 2 periods. But I remember for at least half of the first period, the mic was off. So like I'm in Sackville Arena, trying to work, and I can't even freezing my balls off, but the mic's off. So I'm, it was one of those things, and I hate those feelings of being out and about wanting to work, and there's nothing I can do about it.
You can almost get that game atmosphere too by doing like a coach or a ref, right?
Yeah, coach is good.
Yeah, because you still kind of get that intensity of like they're in the moment. This is like where they're comfortable more than a practice.
Yeah.
But you have none of those like risks of someone slicing the wire with their skate or any of that.
One thing I noticed there's a couple lessons I've learned. Mic'd up during practice at the beginning of the year, not that good due to the fact that the players are still getting to know each other. So there's not that ball break in, that making fun of culture. It's not there yet because the guys are still trying to slowly get to know each other. Another thing that isn't the best, miking up during like a summer training camp. Not training camp, like a skating camp or like a summer skate, which is random people. I noticed that's not very good because some guys just don't know each other, and it's not the best.
You could go to that and be silent the entire time and no one would say anything.
So like the summer, like the best times to do it are, around Christmas, right after Christmas and onwards. I know, but coaches.
Yeah, true.
Coaches, when it comes to the miking up, are just like, stay away because it could kind of. There is that show off mentality when you're being mic'd up. And even like, practices at the end of the year, coaches aren't messing around. It's let's go. Like we sucked yesterday. Like you noticed we did it the other day and we had a coach was like, yeah, we sucked at our battles the other day. So today we're going to do 15 minutes of battles. Let's go. And that's just kind of the mentality on hockey teams after Christmas going into playoffs. It's just the way it is. So the mic, as the year goes on, is slowly less requested due to the fact that the teams are just a little bit more serious, a little bit more focused. And that's what I noticed with the mic'd up during the games too. Like we tried to do the mic'd up during the game after that Sackville arena game, and coaches were just like, no, we're just going to politely decline due to the fact that the player might just start to show off and try to be funny for no reason. The player might be thinking about the mic and how they look in front of their friends and not necessarily focus on the game. So there's a lot of interesting aspects that come with the mic during the game and after Christmas. So we've learned our lesson for sure, and practice just works out. Practice is just where we need to be.
Do you like doing warm-ups?
Love warm-ups.
Warm-ups? Because you've done warm-ups before.
Yeah, warm-ups are great. They're short too.
Yeah.
And they're short, they're intense, there's ball breaking.
Yeah, the boys mess around a little more.
The boys mess around a bit. It's perfect, and it kind of puts pressure on the player. How long is warm up usually? 10 minutes? Depends what league.
10 minutes on a larger league, and then like 3 minutes for minor hockey.
So when you mic up during warm up, it kind of puts the pressure on the player a little bit to perform rather than, I got an hour and a half practice. I got tons of time to be funny type of thing. So like the warm up's my bread and butter, but you got to kind of get it around the coach, and the coach is not the biggest fan on the game and all that. So that's how I feel about that.
How are you going to navigate the joke? Because aren't you like loading up on mic'd up? So you're going to do a bit of everything.
Yeah, but the players that are signing up for it know what they're getting into. It's warm up. And they know. So that's how we navigate that.
Is it teams from like players from a lot of the different teams? Because the Joe brings in a lot of different away teams, all that. Is it kind of like a mixed bag on who's signed up?
I haven't talked to Jeff about it. I know we've sold a good amount.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's a mixed amount. Like people from far away know about our mic'd up videos. So I'm not really overly concerned about that.
Are you gonna do like upload them, or are you just gonna send it to the people? Or, like, because there's gonna be a lot, right?
Yeah. Essentially how it's going to break down is if the ones that are, really funny and we think are special, we'll upload. And if not, then we're just going to send them to the kids, and then they can upload them themselves and they can do what they want, what they want.
Maybe I'll upload a super cut when it's all done. You can send me them all and I'll just edit them all into one large, like 40-minute video, and we can throw that up.
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
Just like, like an hour, I don't know, it might be interesting just to have them all up there if you're going to put the work in.
Yeah.
As well.
You'll be up in Antigonish. You won't have time. I guess after, though.
Yeah. What's the deal with that Antigonish? Has that all been booked? I mean, I was up at the rink there, so I'm feeling great.
We'll talk about that after. But yeah, everything's good. Wanted to talk about that Dallas kid getting knocked out. That was pretty funny. Dropped the N-word, and then as soon as he dropped it, Buddy just "Pacow," and then his woman jumped in, and then the next day he was on TV showing off his mullet again like it never happened.
I thought that was the same night.
Oh, was it the same night?
I think it was right before he got punched. He was doing all that dumb stuff on TV and like.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah. Because I think I saw someone was like, "Life comes at you fast." Because it was Buddy like showing it off, and then later in the game just getting clocked. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
I thought it was the next day. I saw it because I saw the upload on Twitter, like uploaded 24 hours after, but someone must have just found the clip late.
I think they were like, "Oh, what? I saw that guy at the start of the game, like when I was watching the Stars," and then they probably just cut it together.
And I gotta these fights in the stands at professional sporting events are the best. There's just someone's always really drunk and in the wrong, and just trying to explain their themselves, whatever they did. And then there's always just that sober guy, maybe not sober, but only like maybe 1 or 2 beers. And he's just, there's never a fair fight in a sporting event. It's always just one guy getting knocked out or someone being pushed down the stairs. It's never like a fair, just like, oh, yeah, that made sense. That guy deserved to get knocked out. It was just.
There's always like the high ground difference too. It's always the person who has the high ground who just has such an advantage, like punching down into someone like that. Like that guy stood no chance.
Yeah. And another interesting thing about this video in Dallas was that it was only 4 rows up from the glass. Usually these videos are high up. And this guy was right down below. And you're right, he was a little bit lower, so the guy punching him from down had so much more advantage.
Yeah.
And then his woman jumped in. It was it was insane. I wish there was this backstory behind that.
There's a couple of good clips this week in sports, clearly. The Saskatchewan interview, that one was a funny week. Everyone's getting back into it. Second half of the sports seasons. I don't know. It's just funny. You know what I'm talking about? Like the interview with Buddy and then the guy getting punched.
Yeah, LeBron making his thing.
Yeah, congrats, LeBron.
No, there was a... Yeah, it was. Well, that's the thing about the media these days. There's never a dull week. There's always something. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but there's always a viral sensation. There's no shortage of entertainment when it comes to the word we like to call sports. Actually, the word we like, sports, yeah. It doesn't even have to be professional sports. There's just always something on Twitter that's relating to sports that's either funny, incredible, extremely talented, just mind-blowing wow. There's just always something. Sports are just pure entertainment, drama. You know, these NBA players can go wherever they want now, and it's drama. It's like, hey, Kyrie, how do you feel about leaving your buddy KD? And it's like, oh, I'm gonna pray for KD. You know, but I'm here in Texas and Dallas, wherever the Mavs play, to get this championship. But don't worry, I'm gonna pray for my brother KD while I go chase this championship. And then where did KD go? Phoenix?
The Suns, yeah.
The Suns.
It's crazy, man.
And he's just like, man, these players just go wherever they... I hate that culture. I hate it so much. They go wherever they want just to win a championship. All right, let's go here. You guys got something going on over here in Phoenix. I'm going to go try over here.
Yeah, let me just drop in for the last 30 games and try to finish this thing off. Like, we all worked so hard, didn't we, guys? Yeah. It's like, not really.
There's something that I just love about the hockey culture and how you have to kind of just ride it out. If you suck, you got to kind of just stay with that organization and suck with everyone. You got. I love that. It builds something. I don't know about maybe character, sure, but I love that. I love that culture of you can't just hop ship and go, oh, Pittsburgh Penguins are doing pretty well right now. I'm going to go see if I can play with Sid. Hey, GM. Hey, owner. I don't want to play here anymore. What's that scene from?
That does not work like that in the NHL.
What's the scene from Mr. Deeds? I think it is when Mr. Deeds, well, I guess they called him Deeds. He ends up owning an NFL team, and the NFL player comes into his office and starts swearing in front of a woman. Deeds hits him, and he goes, "You're not going to talk about a woman like that in front of a woman," and hits him. And his dad ends up calling Deeds and is like, hey, I'm sorry about my son. He was being an asshole. He'll never talk like that again. And then he ends up apologizing. Like, that's a definition of, I think, what the NBA culture is a little bit. It's just, hey, I don't like it here. I'm going to complain to someone and go. It's
because they value the players so much because there's only, like, what is it, 5 guys on the court or whatever. And there's only so many people on a team. It's like you really only need a few guys if you want to make a run. In the NHL, it's like you got to invest 5 years of building and losing and winning and heartbreak, and then you might have a shot at it.
Which makes it so much better. which makes it so much better. Didn't KD not win a championship till he went to Golden State?
Oh yeah, that was the start of the snake, man. He went to the team that beat him, that came back against him 3-1, and then he just jumped ship that summer, won a few titles, pretended like they were legit, and then moved to Brooklyn, I guess. And now he's gone from Brooklyn.
Like,
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, I've cheated on a math test or two
Oh yeah.
to pass. But that just sounds like, that just sounds like the easy route.
It definitely is.
you're
Oh
just
yeah,
like-
he got roasted on it for like years because of that decision.
And people just forget about that. Like, that's,
Yeah.
like Steph, tremendous amount of respect for Steph. Stayed there.
Clay Thompson, yeah.
Klay Thompson stayed there. Draymond Green
yeah.
stayed there. Wouldn't you consider that a dynasty?
Definitely.
Think about how
were
much.
dynasty.
Think about how much you've learned with losing with a core group. That's how I feel about Sid and Letang and Malkin. Like, I don't know if any of those guys have biological brothers. I know Sid doesn't, but that's those guys are brothers. They've been through losing, they've been through winning, they've been through mediocre years, they've been through everything together. And at the end of the day, when you're, what's a good age? When you're 60 and you want to sit back and have a glass of wine with your brothers and talk about the olden days, or the young days, or whatever, the days when they were playing in the NHL. Think about how nice that's going to be to have that conversation with Malkin, Letang.
Yeah.
And just say, boys, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? Remember when we sucked and we had to go through that quick battle and overcome this? But then guess what happened? We won a championship. Remember in Nashville when we did that? Like, you talk about life memories and creating a brotherhood. Things like that are only created through going through hardship, and that it's the coolest thing. It's hopefully one day when we're all 60, we'll be able to sit back and go, oh man, remember that time we did that
Ice jam?
the ice jam, and Belly was sweating and he almost had a panic attack. Like, remember that? How funny was that? Like that's what
that was
life.
hilarious.
That's what life's about. These stories, and when you just jump ship and. I don't know. Remember that time I was in Phoenix? Remember that time I was in Brooklyn? Remember that time I was in... And I understand there's some guys that don't have the choice. Like, some guys get traded, and it is what it is. But I don't know. The mentality of, I don't like it here. I'm going
The guys who
somewhere else.
demand trades after half a season with a team.
That's there's nothing bigger than the act. Like, there's nothing bigger than the game of hockey. There's no one bigger than the game of hockey. There's no one bigger than the game of basketball.
Yeah.
There's no one bigger than this podcast. Like, there's no one bigger than the thing that you're working for. I wake up every day and I slave for 3 words: High Button Sports. I'm not bigger than the company. I'm just slaving away to make sure that those 3 words go as far as they can. And that's the, I don't know.
You care more about High Button Sports than you probably do like yourself in some ways.
100%. 100%. But yeah, that's you have to sacrifice a lot. I'm not going to get into that now. You might shed a tear.
Yeah.
Don't make me cry right now on camera.
Yeah.
You almost made me cry. But yeah, that the whole mentality's it's a weird one for sure to me. Grown men. I'm going to go over here.
They're different. They're clearly different. They're totally.
Yeah.
It's a different breed. Like, respect to them. They're the best in the world at their craft. They've earned that right in some sense, and it's just the fact that that's just the mentality in basketball. That's all.
I will say this: I think it's the coolest professional sport. I think hockey's the most entertaining, but in terms of coolness, I think it's the coolest sport.
Yeah.
I think it's the creativity that some of these players are able to pull off while jumping in midair to grab a ball and then dunk it into a hoop. I think that's some of the coolest things that you can witness on television when it comes to sport entertainment. It's very, very, very cool. In terms of longevity of a whole season and what I'm most interested in, I would say hockey. I love storylines within the NHL. I love hearing about injuries and how guys are battling through injuries. I love hearing about GM's decisions to make trades. I love the old school mentality of hockey, how tradition is kept, very similar to baseball. Basketball? I guess basketball still keeps their old tradition. Yeah, maybe not as much as hockey.
Basketball.
I don't know tradition in basketball. So
Basketball
I can't sit
does a
here
good job of like bringing everyone together because there's less players. Like, they always have like the events with all the greatest in one room.
Yeah.
But it's more like collective as that, opposed to like, keeping traditions and teams and that sort of thing.
I wish the suit thing was still kept in the NHL. $1 million guys walking in with sweatpants and a t-shirt. I don't like that.
Well, what do you think about like Lou making the guys like shave their beards and stuff, and like that real old school mentality, or like when you or the Yankees, when you go to the Yankees, you got to shave your beard, like because some people don't like that because they're like, oh, that's old, like that's old. No, we shouldn't be forcing people. People should be able to do what they want in 2023. But it's like some Lou Lamoriello, you know, the Yanks, like they have these in-house rules. It's like, no, like if you don't like it, I don't care.
Yeah, the Yankees, I love it, but you can't compare the Yankees to the Islanders. But the Yankees, I like. Yeah, like I am a fan of it with the Yankees. The Islanders, I don't know.
But it was in Toronto before. It's more Lou. It was like in Toronto when Lou was in Toronto.
It was clean shave.
I don't know exactly what it was, but he's got a few rules like that like you have to follow. And when he was with the Devils, it was the same way. So
we can't get like Dobson on the podcast because of Lou. Apparently, Lou has a rule: no podcast with the guys. I think that's what it is. Like I even when I think of Spit and Chicklets, I don't know of any Islanders guys that have been on there throughout the year.
Barzell and a couple of those guys did like a golf thing with the foreplay guys
in the summer.
Yeah, in the summer. But I don't remember too many current Islanders on. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't like that during I don't like hot. Like if you want to be able to grow a little beard, I'd like to be able to. I have a beard, so maybe that's why I'm saying it. But that mentality with the Yankees, I think, is really cool. It's the Yankees. There's something. The Yankees are the Yankees, Jeff. It's the Yankees.
Yeah.
No, the pinstripes don't do it for you.
Not really. I'm a Blue Jays fan.
Yeah. Hey. No, I get it. I don't know. I'm a tradition guy. I love tradition. And I just know I'm gonna be an old cranky man. I just know it. I already am.
You got your quirks, that's for sure, with that stuff. I like it though. Cracks me up. Are there any high button rules we have to follow?
Yeah, there's a couple. I'm not gonna say them on here, but you probably know what they are.
I probably did if you laid them out.
Yeah. No, but I just I like tradition and I like the old school way. I think it's very rewarding in the grand scheme of things. And I'm also a big story guy, hence I have a podcast, and the best stories come from hardship. Best stories come from sleeping on a couch, sleeping on a floor. Best stories come from grinding something out and then coming out on the other side extremely satisfied, I guess you could say. And that's just what I'm about. I just, that's my mentality.
Sleeping in the streets of Thunder Bay.
Well, basically. I won't tell that story now. I'll wait for dudes to get here, but that's that mentality. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sleeping in a single bed with two guys, freezing while there's a DJ playing till 5 a.m. downstairs, and you got to be up at 7 to go work at a rink that's 7 miles away, and you got to take a bus to get there. And you don't even know the bus route, and when you get on the bus, there's like needles all over the bus, and you're carrying thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment, and just people looking at you, and you're terrified. Oh yeah, that's the mentality.
You want to talk about comfort zones? You're way out of it there.
Oh yeah. But now I'm not going to go into it, but that's a great definition of or a great example of a story. That's and I can't wait. I got a hard time sitting at a dinner table every now and then and just not telling stories that I have. That's why I got this podcast. So I can talk. I just love talking about.
You can talk as much as you freaking want on this thing.
That's the best part about this, is that you can rant and you can let people know some cool things that are happening in the behind the scenes aspect of it. The Mooseheads are 21-0-3 in their past 24 games. That's pretty impressive. Myself, I don't like to get excited about the Mooseheads. I really like to stay calm, cool, and collected. Junior hockey is a wave. Junior hockey is emotions of up and down, up and down. They're not pros. Pros, you can have a little bit more of a prediction of who's going to win the cup. Maybe not. Playoffs are pretty hard to determine, but Colorado last year is not going out in the first round. You just know they're not. Junior hockey is it's wavy. It's up. It's not predicted. It's not guaranteed. Excuse me. I hope that the Mooseheads go on a run. From the things that I've seen and from the things that I've heard from people that I respect within the hockey world in Halifax that have watched them more than I have, I've heard that they're going to go on a little bit of a run here. Now, when I hear of a local team going on a run, what do I automatically think of? Kind of being an average businessman, I think of work. I think of street interviews. I think of going to the games and getting reactions from the crowd, hence we have tickets. Thirdly, I think of actually physically being there and enjoying the games. Maybe if they make it further, I'll probably put work on the back pedestal and actually go and physically enjoy them and that stuff. But at the very beginning, and there's a little bit of a hype, I definitely want to do some street interviews.
Definitely.
I definitely want to try. Actually, no, we can't get any players on the pod right now. See, here it kind of goes.
They wouldn't let them?
Well, no, they might. I don't know. It kind of comes back to that mentality of like around playoff time, you just. What's that? The movie Miracle. Herb Brooks doesn't let any of the guys talk to the media. Like that's the mentality, because going into the playoffs, it's not about a player, it's about a team. And if you have a player talking just by himself about the team, maybe that player thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. And I don't know. I wouldn't even be comfortable asking.
Well, you could get like a coach or like someone who's close with the Mooseheads. We'll definitely do like a Mooseheads preview podcast.
Yeah,
get
maybe.
someone on.
Yeah, maybe.
Like the Mooseheads have only made it to the Memorial Cup 3 times in their existence, and they've only won one President's Cup.
Yeah.
It's like this is a big deal. Like if they're able to go on a run here, this is almost as lucky as having the World Juniors show up here.
The Halifax Mooseheads. We'll see.
Yeah, no, 23 or 21 0-3. Third in the country.
Yeah.
Third in the
Where's
country.
Regina on that list, do you know?
I can pull it up right now. I know that the Ramparts are number 1 and Gatineau is number 8. So I think there's 3 QMJHL teams on it.
Gatineau and the Mooseheads have a great rivalry going right now. There's like a little bit of a stare down competition going. And Gatineau has some local guys on that team right now. Cam McDonald's on that
traded
team.
there, yeah.
Cam's on that team.
Yeah, Riley Kidney.
Riley Kidney's on that team. I think Bobby Orr's on that team, who used to play for the Mooseheads as well. So there's something going on there that can create some entertainment value for the sports world. Going back to what I was talking about at the very beginning, there's entertainment value in sports in general. It doesn't have to be professional. Where's Regina on that list?
I don't think it doesn't look like they're on the top 10.
They are?
They're not. No.
Oh,
no. They Ramparts are number 1, Winnipeg, Halifax, Seattle, Ottawa.
Seattle has
Sherbrooke, Phoenix. The Phoenix are in 6th, so they'll be a team to keep an eye on. The Phoenix, the Ramparts, Gatineau, and the Mooseheads. Those are the big 4 heading into these playoffs.
There's something about the playoffs in Halifax that just allows the city to have a little bit of a buzz. There's just a buzz in the air.
No COVID going on, nothing like that. Just years of hard work.
COVID, yeah. Yeah, there's a buzz. There's a buzz in the air.
Yeah,
when the Mooseheads are doing well.
You got it.
You get to go to the rinks and there's people everywhere. You can jam 10,000 people in there.
Yeah, they had a
party.
sellout. They had a sellout last weekend
against Rimouski. Yeah, there's a buzz in the air. The city is buzzing, and the rink's packed.
You got season tickets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that means we get first dibs on playoff tickets.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, it must.
And they must have home ice advantage if they're second in the league. So
definitely.
Going through, they must have.
Until they're third in the country. They'll have home ice until unless they play the Ramparts early. But I think the Ramparts are in a different division, so that might be like finals. I don't know, man. It'll be sick. It's gonna be exciting, regardless.
It goes back to those childhood memories, man. That's like the Mooseheads have sentimental value. Is that what that means? Sentimental value. And it has sentimental value for a lot of people that live here. That's the thing about Halifax is you go to these other cities and like Vancouver's a perfect example. You talk about Vancouver's fan base, not the best. It's because like a lot of people are from Vancouver and stay and live. It's a really good visiting city for a couple years, and then I'm gonna head out and go somewhere else. Don't get me wrong, people grow up in Vancouver and live there, but it's a very good. I'm gonna go find myself out West City, stay there for a bit, and then head out. Halifax is not like that. Halifax, people are born. Yes, people leave, but people always come back.
Oh,
and there's that fan base in Halifax that people remember since they were a kid going to the games with their parents. It's that city that people always come back to due to the fact that it's a great place to raise a family. Well, the taxes are high, but I'll leave that out. But it's a great place to live. Like I said, raise a family on the ocean, great views, There's a lot of things to do in terms of nature.
Yeah.
Did I say what we're on the water?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is because the fact that no one else leaves, a lot of your friends and family are still here.
Yes.
So people, it's like, you know what I mean? My entire family and pretty much, and all my best friends live in Halifax. So it's like, do I really want to leave right now? It's like maybe down the road, but it's like, do you like, why, you know?
And I'm
That's
aware,
a big part.
and a lot of people during the pandemic that were living away moved home. I still know people that are home that were living in bigger cities
Right here.
during. Oh, that's you. That's a perfect example. And I know of at least 10, maybe 20 other people, if I really sat down and thought about it, that didn't leave. They got that little taste of Halifax and go, oh, okay, here's what I was missing, and it allows people to stay and, like I said, grow a family. Buy a house. It's a little more expensive now to buy a house, but
I know my parents just bought one.
Your parents just bought another one? Your parents just sold their house?
Well, it's kind of in flux. It's like a conditional offer where if ours gets sold, then like that one's off the market right now. So it's technically bought.
It's like a Beau Bichette deal. It's like a
something like that. Yeah, it's
like
like
a
we have
three-way
2
deal.
months to sell it, and if it happens,
Yeah, it's
then
like
the house is ours. If not, it hits the market again.
it's like a three-way deal.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't know that. Congrats. Are they
yeah.
moving to Florida?
No, Fall River. Just some people would say similar to Florida.
I'd love to live in Florida. Training camp. Maybe not the hurricanes and the flooding and that stuff,
Yeah,
but like
it's
training
scary.
camp, the weather. Yeah, maybe it's too hot. Man, I was in Florida maybe twice in my life, and each time I remember just not being able to go outside.
Oh, come on,
Dude.
You get used to it.
Yeah, maybe. Like I remember I was an hour outside of Miami, and it was just awful. Like it was so hot. I was there in
Where
June.
was it? What
It was in
specific
June.
town? Yeah, that is a tough time to go.
So I was down there, and I went to a Tampa Bay Rays game.
Okay, so Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and then I remember just kind of drove around for a bit, looking at, like, I don't know what we were looking at, to be honest. I was too hot. I couldn't even remember. But we were just driving around, and I saw a sign like Miami, 3 kilometers that way, or something like that.
Oh, actually, I think wait, you said you went to a Rays game?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's St. Pete's, not Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, that's I love Florida. Seriously, if I was to move anywhere in the U.S., it would be there.
I guess, yeah, we went there in June, and it was just hot. But I remember the nighttime was unbelievable. Like, as 5, 6 o'clock, and the sun's going down, and you're on a pier having a nice little, maybe like a fish or a potato,
Oh,
nice
yes.
steak, and the waitress brings
So
over
nice.
a nice, like, fruity drink, and you're sitting there,
yeah.
and you see these boats go by. If you're
Yeah.
lucky, maybe you see a dolphin. You're just sitting there, and you got like a nice, what are those shirts those people wear, Cabana wear, like a nice open
Yeah.
shirt. Oh man, Florida's the best anytime past 5 o'clock, but in the morning, in the afternoon, I'll be inside with the air conditioning.
Well, the Florida man gets a tough rep out there, rightfully so. There's a ton of like weird crimes that happen down there, but that also leads to just like a more chilled, laid back atmosphere. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like people are like, you're living in like a
it's white trash.
yeah.
That's what it is.
That's one way to put
a
it.
lot of
yeah.
trailer parks.
Yeah.
No, I remember we were driving to our Airbnb. I don't even know if it was an Airbnb. It was a house we rented.
Yeah.
And to get there, we had to drive through a trailer park. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, you hook a right, and it's this nice suburb with pools
Yeah.
and what are those, canals?
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember
the
driving.
canals are sick, man.
We were going through this trailer park for like probably 5 minutes, and I'm like, Dad, what the? Did you rent a house in a trailer park in
Yeah.
Florida? And I remember for a second he was nervous. I remember he was like, "Did I get ripped off?" Like,
Started to sweat. You
he's
could
like,
see the
yeah,
beads of
you could tell he was like, "No, like it said it
Yeah.
had a pool and it was like a gated community." And
Yeah.
like you
Oh,
could
man.
tell he was like, "Did I get ripped off?"
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest. It was the weirdest thing. It went from a straight ghetto trailer park, and you hook a right, and then boom, there's this nice wall, fenced off security guard. Hello, who are you?
Yeah.
Opens the gate, welcome. It was the weirdest.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And then you go into this community, and then boom, all of a sudden you see green grass, palm trees, kids on their bike,
Tennis courts.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking,
Mini putt.
and I'm just thinking on the other side of that wall, it's like a third world country. Like it was it was the weirdest. I've never
Third
experienced anything like that ever.
Yeah.
Because here, like the neighborhoods are very spread out. It's a casual, you know when you're in the South End,
Yeah.
when you're in Spryfield. It's not like quick,
Yeah.
boom, you're in the suburbs, you're in a trailer park. It's not like that here. So I remember that being really a wide opening.
Yeah, well, Nova Scotia and Florida go together. Like anyone here just will vacation in Florida because it's just down the coast, right? If you're in Toronto, you'll go to Florida as well. But if you're in Vancouver, you're not going to Florida. You're going to Hawaii or you're going to LA.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? We're just kind of associated with Florida. It's right there.
Cuba, Dominican,
Yeah, exactly. All those islands that are close to us. So it's like
Bahamas.
it all just kind of it all just kind of works out. But I always say when I was in Florida, man, you're talking about those canals. There was a grocery store that was like on the water, and people could bring their speedboats up, and like there was a dock for people to park, like a parking lot, but for your boat.
That's awesome.
And I was like, anywhere that has that is cool. Like I don't care. Like if you can take your boat to the grocery store and then to your backyard through a canal.
Yeah. I just remember, the pace of life was slow.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of old people.
Slow.
Snowbirds.
Yeah, that's what they're calling them, eh? Snowbirds.
Yeah, that's the line.
No, but the pace of life was very slow. I don't remember having too many conversations with like people. Like I was there, I was younger, so I wasn't like, how are you today? I wasn't, coming out of my shell. So I don't have a good touch on like the people there. But, it was, any time past, like I said, 5 o'clock, I was happy.
Did you
for
go
sure.
to Disney?
No, I've never been to Disneyland. My parents took my brother, left me. I was
Seb?
playing hockey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big like roller coaster.
No.
Just give me a chair, a view.
Yeah. You don't have like theme parks don't excite you at all? Water park?
It's not that they don't. It's that large crowds don't excite me. Like if I had LeRon or Disney World to all myself and my friends, I'd be like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. But something about waiting in a line to be spun around upside down just doesn't,
You'd
And-
love the food there, man. I'm sure you'd head to the burrito truck right away.
I'm sure I would.
You'd like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm sure I would. But there's just the line aspect. And that doesn't make me a bad person just because I don't want to be in a crowded
No, I mean,
area. It's
everyone's
just-
different. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Never been to a music fest before I say that. No.
You never been to a fest? Have you been to a concert?
Yeah,
in
I've been to a concert.
See, I'd much rather go to a festival than a concert.
Yeah.
Like I found it weird, like sitting like somewhere I'd watch hockey, and then I'm like sitting there watching like someone like on the stage.
No, a
It's
concert's
weird for
great
me.
because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's like a movie. A concert, it's just the beginning, a festival, it's just the beginning, and there is no end.
There's
I
no
think
end.
I'm trying to think if I've ever been to a music festival.
No Cavi. You don't like country music. You wouldn't go to that one.
I'm starting to come around to country music, man. I
Yeah.
you'll catch me every now and
Okay.
then listening. I feel like I have been to a music festival.
Yeah.
I just can't think of one.
It seems like something a younger Justin would do, and then now an older Justin would say, "I have no desire to do that."
Yeah. No, I don't think I have. Sorry. But no,
We'll get you to one.
I don't mind country music. I actually don't. When I was younger, it was strictly rap. But as you get older, your mind starts to expand and you start to take in other things. And you're like, oh, that's actually a pretty good melody. So country, I don't mind.
Were you an Eminem guy growing up?
Oh my God, who wasn't?
I know.
Want to hear a funny story about Eminem? So back when my grandmother was alive, rest in peace, Mima, I love ya. She and I shared a car. And I had this Eminem Greatest Hits CD.
Oh, nice.
And she was a little bit too old to be driving, and she couldn't figure out the like how to change from the CD to the radio.
FM, yeah.
FM. She couldn't
Yeah.
figure that out. So like every now and then you would cut, and that's the only CD I had in that car. It was the Toyota Yaris, and every now and then I'd go into the car, and you just hear my grandmother.
Yeah.
Like she would pick me up. Like I had to work downtown.
Yeah.
And if I didn't want to bus home, I'd be like, hey, Mima, do you mind coming to pick me up? Like,
Yeah.
maybe I remember Quake was in the car a couple times. We had to drive Quake home. And just every now and then my grandmother would be pulling up and it would be like a classic Eminem
It'd be like
song.
My Name Is.
Cleaning out my closet.
Yeah.
One
Shake
more
That.
time. Sure.
All of them.
And just I remember that CD to this day because I'd be like, Mima, what? Just put the radio on. She goes, I don't know how. I tried to figure this. I tried. She's like, I don't mind it, dear. She was the best. She's like, I don't mind it, dear. I know you like it. So when I pick you up, it's on. I'm like, oh, Mima. God
The latest
love ya.
50 and Eminem joint playing on the radio and they pull up.
Just God love her. Just like smoking a cigarette, listening to Eminem,
Nice.
window down. Just,
Yeah.
you know.
Quake in the back.
Quake in the back. It's because we drive Quake home every now and then. Oh man, just those are the days, man. Those were the days.
It's a different life, man.
Yeah, man, life's good though. How much time are we at right now?
49.
49 minutes?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 sec here.
You got to get Quake back on, man. I miss that guy.
Okay, no, we're good there. Yeah, man, he's right down the street. We can get him on.
It's been a year since he's last on.
Yeah, he's overdue.
Yeah.
Maybe when the Super Bowl's over, we'll get his intake on it, what he
Yeah.
thinks about it, if Mahomes performed up to his hype or not.
I guess he had the appearance when he talked about the gold medal game. Remember he had the phone up to it. He told the story about him and his dad. He was getting into that game.
Oh man, that was good. It's just this has. I was saying to Coleman the other day, this has the potential to be one of the best hockey years of my life. The World Juniors was a big one.
Ice Jam.
Ice Jam. The Leafs Habs game last week, almost a month ago now. Like went to overtime. And now if the Mooseheads can do something special, it has a chance to be one of those magical years. It has a chance. I'm not saying it will be.
I was gonna say I don't even know. I know your NHL team. Do you have an NHL team that you root that hard for?
My dad grew up in Montreal, so he's a Montreal
Right.
fan religiously, and my last name is Belanger. But I'm not a huge I'm just a hockey fan. I have a hard time rooting for teams. It's a weird one with me.
Yeah.
Real weird.
Because normally it's like if you love hockey, you'd get invested in one particular team and you just watch them over and over. But
I know it's a weird one. I like the joy that I see you and dudes and like Coleman and like you guys seem so happy, and I do get a little like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish I could. I wish if I was a fan of Edmonton, I would stay up till 11, whatever. What time of the
2
game's
a.m.
over? 2 a.m. Like
Yeah.
you're a nut job, but I wish I had that passion for that. I just don't. I have the who's the guy that had the NFL hat on at the NFL
Oh
game?
yeah.
Who is that guy?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
That's me with the
fan of the league.
Yeah, someone needs to buy me a hat that just says hockey.
Seriously. When's your birthday?
December 5th.
Okay.
Someone needs to buy me a hat that just says hockey on it, and then that's all I need.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a fan of hockey and the evolution of it. That's what I'm a fan of.
Hey man, that's fair.
And I'm a fan of a good game. That Calgary New York game, that's what I'm a fan of. Doesn't necessarily have to be the Montreal Canadiens playing. If there's a great competitive game on, New York versus Calgary, Madison Square Garden, Kadri gets his helmet knocked off. What more do you want out of an entertainment sporting value? That's pretty good if you ask me. Doesn't necessarily need to be Montreal playing. But I will say this about the Habs. Now that I've been to the Bell Center and I've seen how a professional organization and a historic NHL organization runs, I have a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for?
Appreciation?
Yeah, I have a little bit more appreciation for the Montreal Canadiens. Just wow.
Was it sweet?
Zamboni drivers wearing ties. The washroom, there was hardly a lineup to get into the washroom. It was just a big open room full of urinals. And like there's no just one single door to get in. It's like a hallway, a massive hallway. And then you walk into this massive hallway and it's just urinals and stalls and sinks and there's no lineup. And I got 2 beer and a poutine in 5 minutes. No line.
I was just about to say, what'd you eat?
Poutine, beer. Did I get a hot dog? I don't think I
Pretzel?
got a hot. No, because we went out to dinner right before, so I wasn't
Right.
overly hungry.
I figured you'd be really interested in the food
I
options.
was, but I was, like I said, I ate before, and I was just amazed by the whole operation of everything. You know, the even the entrances and how quick the security was of getting people in. Basically, there was no lines. That's pretty much what it boils down to. The efficiency of everything was incredible, even down to like the music they played in the warm up, the lighting, how the equipment managers lined up the pucks for the guys on the boards, how the ushers helped elderly people up and down the stairs, how the fans lined up behind the glass to give an Austin Matthews sign.
Right.
And how security kind of just like buffered them in.
Yeah.
And allowed people who really didn't care to get up and down their seat comfortably. Like there was no aspect where it was a little bit of confusion. Like the security team, the management team of the Bell Center just have seen every scenario, and they knew what was going to happen, and there was just someone there to take care of every incident. Even during warm-up, I was sitting down watching, and there was a guy standing in front of me, and Montreal was at the far end, so I was trying to see Barron. I was like, where's Barron? This guy's standing right there. And before I could even just kind of be like, what are you doing? Like, before I could even yell at him to say, sit down, you know?
Yeah.
Security just not grabbed him, but just said, excuse me, sir, do you mind leaving? The people behind you can't see. He said it in French, so I'm not 100% sure that's what he said, but the guy moved. And it was just even the usher, I asked him really quick, hey man, do you mind taking a quick picture of me and my, you know, and just, yeah, sure, absolutely, right away, here you go, boom, right back to helping other people down their seats. And there was a couple times where there was elderly people that couldn't get to their seat, and the usher stayed where he was, but there was like a second person with the usher to like help these people. And it was just, I don't know. There's something about it that just impressed me. World class.
Definitely.
And that's kind of, I'd love to go to Yankee Stadium one day and just kind of see if there's any similarities in terms of like professionalism.
I went when I was a kid. It was pretty cool.
To the old one?
The new one. Yeah. The old one was gone, but the new one. And the one thing I remember with that is after the game, we were walking out to the subway, and someone yelled at my brother. He was wearing like a tight shirt, I guess. And he was like, get a tighter shirt, buddy. And my brother was like in grade 12. He was like, what? He was all shook, but it was like the classic New York. Just
that's the best.
Just like random guy passing you in the concourse just chirps you, just shakes up this kid from Bedford.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Everyone needs that. Like, I remember the first time I was in Montreal and saw like homeless people. Like, everyone remembers that first time a homeless person yells at you.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the kind of, you know, that's the big city experience. I love that stuff. You gotta break your cherry at one point there in the big city and just get a little big city experience.
Dude, when I was living in Toronto, I was so naive. One time it was very early in the morning, and I was walking down to the convention center because we were going to a Patriots game in Buffalo. So it was like 5:30 a.m. and you could walk down and they would drive you there, like this party bus. And I walked down and I had my headphones in, just like head down, and this homeless guy starts like yelling at me. This is my first year in Toronto, like a few months into living there on my own. And the guy, like, I had my headphones in, and just me being so naive, like, he was yelling at me, and I stopped, and I like took my headphone out, and I was like, sorry, man, what'd you say? Like, I didn't know he was already asking for money. And he's like, you got any money, buddy? And I was like, oh, like, no, sorry. He's like, you know what, man? He's like, I have hundreds of people walk by me on the streets every day, and they don't even give me a look. He's like, I really appreciate you taking your headphone out and acknowledging me, this homeless guy said.
That's good.
And I was like, yeah, man, sorry though, I'm broke, I have no money. And then I like took off. But that was my first interaction with the homeless. It was so weird.
I feel that way about people that try to get you to sign up for credit cards and like Canadian Tire. I always give them my time of day, but then I'm just like,
exactly.
They go, hey, have you heard about the deal? I go, I have. I did it already, man. Appreciate the heads up though, and I just fuck with them.
Yeah.
Anyways, I gotta go to hockey. Everyone tuning in, you know, enjoy the Super Bowl, guys. It's Friday. I love each and every single one of you. Even if you hate the podcast and you still listen, I still love you. You'll figure it out. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm doing the best I can for you guys. I hope that you guys are doing the best for yourselves. It's all love. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Have a Philly cheesesteak. Put your feet up. Chuck a blanket over you. Have a drink. Smoke a puff. Do whatever you got to do to enjoy. All right? We are out. Have a good weekend. We are out. Peace.